Yo, what is up everybody? My name is Andrew and welcome back to my channel. It's great to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I am particularly excited for today's video because I get to talk all about a new piece of musical gear that I recently got. So a couple months ago in July, I needed to send in my horn, my Landstro, which is the horn that you normally see me playing. It's my baby, it's my favorite horn, it's one of the best horns I've ever played. I needed to send that horn in for some routine maintenance. I just needed an ultrasonic cleaning, but I needed a backup horn to play for the meantime during the days that I wouldn't have my horn. But I had also had it rolling around in the back of my head that I wanted to get a single horn, and not just any single horn, but a single F horn, which is kind of a counterintuitive and unpopular idea amongst a lot of horn players today, advanced horn players. Like, why would you want a single horn in the key of F? But I wanted one, and I bought one. So this lovely horn I have here is a King 618, or King Cleveland, I think. It's a King. I'm not sure exactly what model it is, but it's basically a King 618, and it's the same stencil as the Con 14D, the current production Con 14D. It's just a very basic, straightforward single horn in the key of F. And it's a really nice horn. It's, by no means is it, a super professional level instrument, but it plays great. It could be a little bit more in tune. This horn does have a few intonation problems, but nothing major, and all the notes center really, really well, and it blows really easily. It just feels great to play. Now, of course, the hidden elephant in the room, or not so hidden elephant in the room, is this horn is a single horn in F, which means that we don't have the luxury of the B-flat horn, which we normally have playing the double horns that we all know and love these days. And in some cases, there are pros who play triple horns, and they have a descant F or sometimes E-flat side, which makes the horn even shorter and makes the notes even more easy to get, accurately right in the center. That's basically kind of the whole idea behind why we have our more complicated horns these days with thumb triggers that make it shorter. It's so that we get better accuracy. There's more sure-footedness as we go through all different registers of the horn. Now, in all the time that I've played the horn, I personally have always favored the tonal qualities of the F side of the horn, and even though it's definitely much more difficult to be accurate and get the notes to pop out and to speak clearly, there's just this extra warmth and extra just beauty in the sound. It's less trumpet-like, it's more vocal, it's more horn-like, I feel like, playing on the F side of the horn. And that is something that I found on the Vienna horn. The one chance that I did get to try a Vienna horn, I found very much the same thing. And it's good practice in our modern horn playing to do warm-up exercises and fundamental exercises where we spend long periods of time on the F side of the horn in order to hit all of those harmonics and get good lip flexibility, and so that, you know, it builds good technique to spend lots of time on the F horn. But you might think to yourself, well, if you have a full double horn, you've got an entire F horn and an entire B flat horn on there. If you want to play on the F horn, just play on the F horn of your double horn. Like, what's the big deal? Like, why would you need to get just a single F horn? And I must say, the experience, the playing experience, the feel is completely different playing on a single F horn. This horn is way more responsive, and the sound develops very differently, and also the entire horn is almost like half the weight of my double horn, so it's very light, it's very easy to hold, and my arms and my back don't have nearly so much strain after playing for long periods of time. And I also find that the response is actually freer, and I don't need to work as hard for the notes, especially in the upper register, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but in some ways, high notes are actually easier on this horn than they are on the double horn, only marginally so. They're easy on both horns, but there's something about this quality of like the notes just kind of like sail out of the horn on this horn. But there is one major drawback to the single horn in F, and that is accuracy. So, I mean, goodness, it's so hard to play accurately on this horn. It's just, man, like you can hit a note and it could be anywhere. And it's made me realize how much I take the B flat horn for granted, and how easy it makes everything. You know, you can just throw your thumb down, and, you know, even notes in the middle register that you need a lot of articulation on, they just pop out. And notes in the high register, they're just there, they're very secure, they're very reliable. You have none of that on this horn, and that is also one of the motivations for me to get this horn. It somehow it forces me to be a lot more careful and to really make sure I've honed my technique to a very high level, to make sure that I really put the notes where they're supposed to go, because the horn is not going to help me very much in finding those notes. Now, there's one other really cool aspect of this horn that I did want to touch on as well, and mouthpiece choice has been affected, and this kind of plays into the whole idea of sound concept. What kind of sound are we getting out of our horn? And in the modern day, especially in the United States, we're playing on modern double horns. Horn sound really across the whole world is becoming more and more homogenized. Everybody kind of sounds the same these days. And so what I've noticed as far as sound concept goes, between, you know, our more modern types of horn playing and people, you know, especially in the United States, playing on Geyer style horns, they produce a very full range of overtones. They sound great, you know, they cut through the orchestra really well. They have lots of sparkly high overtones. You can get really bright with them, but they also have this very warm center to the sound. They can play pretty much any style of music really well. And so it's a very marketable sound, but everybody's kind of moving towards that one sound. And a very important aspect of that sound that I've started to notice recently is that it sounds the same in all dynamic ranges. You play soft, you play loud, and it sounds like the same horn in all the dynamic ranges until you get to the very loudest dynamics, and the sound starts to break up just a tiny bit. You get that overdriven edge on the sound, which is awesome. We all love that sound as brass players, but that's kind of really the only variety you get. It sounds like very consistent, the same sound soft and the same sound loud. What I've noticed about the Vienna horn and there is a certain quality, not nearly so much on this little single horn that I have, but it's there a little bit. It's getting there, where it sounds different, soft, than it sounds loud. It has this, you know, this covered, veiled quality in the soft dynamics, and this beautiful, just like absolutely soaring quality in the loud dynamics. It doesn't get bright, but it gets brilliant, and that's, you know, probably one of my favorite horn sounds is the Vienna horn sound. When they play loud, it doesn't get overly bright, but there's almost this like molten metal quality in the sound that is just absolutely amazing. And now, my mouthpiece choice has been influenced also by, you know, how do I make this horn play the best that I can make it play. And as per my last video, you know, I've been doing some experimenting with different rims, and I finally found a mouthpiece rim that works for me, and I decided to take this Holton MDC mouthpiece that I have had lying around for like probably 7 years or so now, and I wanted to get it cut so that I could put a different rim on it. What would happen if I were to try this mouthpiece on this horn? And it has ended up being my favorite mouthpiece on this horn. I can get a huge range of tonal color out of this out of this little cheap single horn with this mouthpiece. Now, I did have to do a little bit of finagling because the receiver is a little too big, so I added like some layers of tape to make sure that it goes in the proper amount. Otherwise it goes in too far and the notes don't center quite right because it doesn't line up. Anyway, it's a whole thing. Well, anyway, that's about all I have for you today about this horn. Just kind of a little rambly video, but I'm super excited about this horn, and I've been having a lot of fun practicing on it, and it's just been really cool. It's opening up new musical possibilities for me, and just new creative possibilities, and exploring sound concept and that sort of thing. And it's also just a really cool practice tool to keep me accountable with my accuracy and making sure that I'm using good form, because it's very revealing when you play on this horn, and it's just a lot of fun. I love the sound that it makes, and it makes playing the horn more challenging, but that's something that I am really drawn to. I love that it makes it more challenging. It makes me feel like I'm accomplishing more when I play. So anyway, with that, I will leave you, and I hope you're having a magnificent day. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.